fire coming out of the top. Man, I tell you what, I'm like a kid at Christmas time. I've been waiting on my day dance smoker. And once I decided, you know, how you get that in your blood, like, oh, I want that. And I want it so bad that I was so excited about getting it. Like I was just watching down the road for the UPS truck. And they finally brought my day dance smoker. Now, the reason I like the day dance smoker, I guess, is because when I was at EAS a few weeks ago, almost a month ago, I guess, I was able to talk to a few people, friends of mine that are master beekeepers, and they were like, David, the day dance smoker is the best. Now, this is not a paid promotion. I'm not getting paid anything to say this, but I just want to give kind of like a review of what the difference is between, and if there is any, between a day dance smoker and the one that I've used for quite a while now, this one. And I found one on my shelf, like a plastic one, I thought, with a dome shape. I thought we'd talk about all three of these. And there are many other smokers. Smokers have been around for a long time. We have Moses Quimby to thank for that. But it's like, there's older smokers that people are still using. Some people find old rusty smokers and call them antiques, and it just means the beekeeper left it out in the rain for a couple of years, you know. So let's just start talking about this. Is this day dance smoker really worth the money? Because it does cost a little bit more money than the traditional type smoker that you can get on Amazon. Relatively cheap. I just looked it up. I paid $29 for this one on Amazon. And on this one, this day dance smoker, I paid right at, I think, $79, $80. But I had to pay shipping because I think Daydent now requires you to buy $200 worth of things before you get free shipping. And I just didn't have a need to buy $200 worth of stuff. So I had to pay $80 for this one and $29 for this one. So you can almost buy, what, 2.5, 3 of these for the price of this one. Free shipping, so it's only going to cost you $29. This costs $80. So is it worth paying more money for this day dance smoker? What makes the day dance smoker worth $89? Well, first of all, the day dance smoker, for those of you that are more inclined to appreciate things made in the US, then the day dance smoker is still made in the US. I want to go to the factory or the place where they make these. And I've been talking with Daydant to say, hey, can you let me come in and see where you make these? And they're thinking about it. I don't think these are made in the US, but I can't be 100% sure. They don't claim to be made in the US, these here. This one is actually, I got my Beak Squad sticker. No, I'm not covering this up because I don't want to show it. I just wanted a place to put my sticker. But you'll see, I want to show you this. This one comes with this on it, Foxhound Bee Company. Now, Foxhound Bee Company is a relatively large beekeeping company, and they're really big on Amazon. I didn't know this until I was at EAS. I'm the field team leader for the Master Beekeeper certification. And one of the people that was helping us do field tests, one of my examiners, was Adam. And I found out that Adam actually owns and runs Foxhound Bee Company. And he said, David, you use my smoker. And I'm like, oh, do I? I bought it off Amazon. He said, I'm on Amazon. I sell on Amazon. And he said, yeah, you just got my name covered up with your sticker. I said, okay, whatever. But this is kind of like I would think most beekeepers would buy that are on the cheap. Let's face it. Most beekeepers are wanting to save money. That's what I've found. So most beekeepers, I didn't see that Daydent had an Amazon smoker on Amazon. I think they sell it just from their company website. So when I looked at the two, I started doing some comparison, and it's interesting. I want to point out several things be sure and subscribe. My subscribe sign fell over. But I want to show you some things that I find that are kind of interesting. So let's start with the one that I've used all year. Now I added this because Valerie Wampler gave me this, and it's just a stopper. So this is an addition. It didn't come with this, so I wanted to say that. I just have that wedged there. This smoker, you can tell that it's made very simple. Like there's just some wood screws here that hold the canister to the bellows back here. And they're essentially, I think, somewhat thinner metal than I see on the Daydent side over there. But I'll just show you. I do have my cage upside down. You don't need to tell me that again and again. Don't leave a comment telling me that this protective cage is upside down. I know that. I accidentally put it on upside down. I took it apart once. Anyway, so another thing that I've noticed about this particular smoker is this hinge right here. Now, the hinge really is just a piece of metal that's looped through another piece of metal. This has come off before while I've been working bees. And it's kind of hard to put back on till you take it back in the shop and start stretching the metal, put the metal back where it goes and clamp it down a little bit better. It's tolerable, but still kind of a nuisance. So you've got that kind of a non-existing little axle hinge there that is a little bit more difficult to work. When I started looking at this, I did know one day, I noticed one day that I had a gap that developed right here if I work it from one side. Now, I know that most of the time you work your smoker from the top of the bellows like that, but sometimes you pick it up and you work it from the side. You know, you're in a precarious position, and I started feeling air coming out here. And I think that's just prone to be what all smokers are going to have that, you know. And you can see the wood here. If this is, I don't know if this is wood or what it is, but it's starting to change a little bit, warp, buckle a little bit more. So that is my go-to green smoker. I call it green because this is green. I also noticed that this material here is very thin. I don't think it's thin I don't mean that it's not as good. I just mean it's thin, which makes it very easy to go like this. It doesn't take much of muscles in your arm and your fingers to actually squeeze it. And look at the throw action. I should have brought a ruler, but from here to here, it looks every bit of 4 inches to me, maybe more, right? And so it's very easy to go from all the way out to where the two metal pieces touch. I want you to pay close attention to that. You're getting a lot of air the whole distance, okay? That's intriguing to me that you get that whole throw distance and a large placement of air to push through the smoker. Now let's look at the date ant. Now that we've seen the one I usually use, proud owner of the new date ant. I bought their Whopper Dopper all out. I got all the accessories. Can you believe the smokers? It's like buying a car with all the accessories. So this smoker came with all the accessories, which are really the only accessory that I think is different is this finger guard right here. Now this is the finger guard because they have a smoker just like this without the finger guard that's maybe $5 cheaper. I don't know, a little $10 cheaper. So that when you put your fingers in here, if you got big fingers or you get careless and you go like that, this is supposed to shield your fingers from being burned. I did look around and down in there and I do see some type of material, like, I don't know, like insulation material that's in between the canister and the guard. So it probably does break the heat significantly here. One of the things I noticed, you know, I complained on the other smoker about this hinge here that mine kept coming apart. Now look at that hinge. That does have a rod that goes through and connects those. And it looks like it has this kind of a locking mechanism to hold that in there. I have had some people tell me this does come out over time and you can stick a nail through there. Something that keeps it with an axle in there. Okay, so one of the things I noticed on this is the material is significantly thicker. This material, you can tell, is thicker. I don't think it's leather. I could be wrong. This is made in the USA, but this is some kind of vinyl material, I assume. And the wood to me looks like real wood. Not that the other isn't, but this looks like a real panel of wood, maybe even pine. I could be fooled by that, but it does look like a real piece of wood. Over here, instead of wood screws that just go down into the wood, it looks like there's a bolt on the other side of the wood that comes up through the wood. And then there is actually a vinyl sleeve built within this nut to actually lock that nut into place. That's pretty impressive there. I kind of like the quality of work that's been done there. The interesting thing here I want to show you, if Pat or cameraman can actually see, but you know, there's your hole that pushes air from the billow into the canister. There, that gap is existent there. Pat, can you see that there's a secondary hole about halfway down? Maybe we can see it from the top, but right here, my other smoker doesn't have that. Let me show you. Bring this one up here on the table. See, it just has the air hole and nothing halfway down. And so I assume that what's happening here, when you squeeze it, it's sucking air in through the bottom hole. And then, oh, wait a minute. oh, when you release it like this, that's where it's drawing air in through the bottom hole, then it pushes the air back out through the bottom hole. But somebody must have came up with an idea that it's better to have almost like a check valve, because I noticed material covers up the top hole. So, you know, once you squeeze it, the air goes out of the bottom, but I assume when I let go, air is sucked in through this top hole. I guess that's necessary. I could be totally wrong why that's used, but I just happen to notice that. Now, let's talk about the materials. To me, this is heavier than this one. So I feel like this metal material, it could be heavier. I'm not sure. I'd have to, you know, have a better way to measure it. But it does look like it's made of a stronger type material, to me, in my opinion. The other thing that I wanted to point out is, well, it comes with instructions too. That's good to know. If you notice down in here, it has the grate down there, and the grate is already attached. A lot of my complaints about smokers like this one is the grate has feet or legs on it that are flat. The whole grate is flat, and a lot of new beekeepers don't know to fluff those out and put it back in there, so your smoker fuel is elevated off the bottom, allowing air to come up through the bellows onto the smoker fuel. And so once I made a video, hundreds of people thanked me because they couldn't make their smoker work because they didn't know they were supposed to stretch the legs out on the base. This one's already stretched out, but look, it's not completely level down in there. Things may have settled in shipment. So I'm going to see if I can push it to make it more level. Not that it would make a huge difference, but it looks like it should be level. Oh yeah, okay. So that just kind of moved as shipping. So I just shoved it back pretty much level now. But it already comes with the feet stretched out in place the way they should be, and they don't fall out. So they stretch the feet out so that stays in place. The other thing that I want to point out is I want to show you the size. Oh, let's start with the bellows. The size of the bellows look identical to me. They are the same height. They look like they're basically the same design. But if you notice, look at the throw distance of the green one versus the throw or push distance over here. This one is significantly wider than this one. And this one will go all the way, as I pointed out, metal to metal when you pump it. But since this material is thicker, I don't think I can do that. Almost, but you can tell the material, it's just tough to get all the way. But let's call it all the way. That's close enough. So you have a shorter throw distance than you have on this one. So I can definitely feel that I can get more air. Oh yeah, I can get a lot more air through this one. Stronger air and more volume than I can this one. Does that matter? No, I don't think so. It's just an observation. The other thing that I noticed with the day dance smoker is, let's talk about the height of it. Is it larger than this one? Remember, we're talking the price between $80, unless you buy a whole bunch of other stuff, and $29. Okay, so you can see that the day dance smoker is, let's say, 3/4 of an inch taller than this smoker. But here's the kicker right here that I like about the day dance smoker. Look at the diameter of the barrels. The day dance smoker is significantly larger in size than the green smoker. Now, again, is that going to matter a whole lot? Not really, unless you're a commercial beekeeper and you need a lot of smoker for that, a lot of fuel for that day. But the backyard beekeeper, you know, this thing loaded with fuel, like I use burlap, and that's going to burn a long time. This just gives a beekeeper that is going to be in their hives a long time to have more space for their smoker fuel. But basically, other than the things that I just pointed out, a smoker is a smoker, right? It's pretty much going to work. So I did bring this along. This is one that I got a few years ago, and there's no name, no company name on it at all. But I brought it out just to show you that everybody makes different kind of smokers. This is plastic, and then this is a rubber type material in the middle. And so I don't really feel much air at all. In fact, I don't feel any air. Not compared to the other two smokers. I do feel some air, but not that much. And then, you know, pretty much the same smoker, but it just has a dome on top. But it is made out of plastic. I don't know if these are available. And I didn't see this one on Amazon. I thought that's where I bought it. But it's just, you see some dome-shaped ones every now and again. I do want to point out, I'm going to get my reading glasses because I do want to point out something that I saw on Daydance little instructions here. That I may take issue with this. All right, it says here, you know, it has, I like it that they include something like this. It kind of gives a family touch to their business. I do appreciate Daydant and what they do for the beekeeper community. It's been a family business since the 1800s in the U.S. But it says here, let me find it here. Okay. The smoke produced from your smoker interferes with the bee's detection of the alarm pheromone, isopenyl acetate, which that is accurate, that the bees produce when an intruder comes to their hive. The bees respond to the smoke by eating as much honey as possible and become very calm. I don't think that's a false statement, but a better way to say this is that I think we've always thought that when bees are smoked, it forces them to eat a lot of honey. And I'm not 100% sure if that is absolutely accurate. I just don't see that a lot. The other thing is, the reason why historically we've kind of made a claim that if bees eat a lot of honey, they won't sting you. That's the assertion. So in other words, if we smoke bees and they eat a lot of honey, then they can't sting you because their stomach is full of honey. I've been stung plenty of times by foragers returning back to the hive full of honey. And so I don't see that that is accurate. The reason why the smoke, and they did say that in here, the smoke will mask the alarm pheromone. The smoke actually will interfere with the bee's antenna. The antenna of the honeybee has thousands of receptors on it. And those thousands of receptors are able to pick up intruders. They're able to communicate to each other. So by communicating through their antennae, what happens is smoke clogs the circuits. They can't work their sensories anymore. And so because they can't communicate, they aren't as apt to be reactionary to the beekeeper. But I'm not going to say much about that. But there was another part in here that I was surprised by. Let me see. Here, it's on this side over here. Over here it says, pump the bellows gently to help the fuel start burning briskly. If not using the Daydant and Son smoker fuel, add enough green leaves or green grass to fill smoker and pack down using your hive tool. The mixture will produce a cool, dense, moist smoke. Okay, well, let's talk about that. So I have heard that before. I've never done it. I've never had to do it because I use burlap. So the other day we were working a hive. You'll see it in either have seen it or a future video where I ran out of burlap. And so the only thing near me was a tall green grass. And I'd already read this. So I packed my smoker full of, I had a little fire on the bottom, but I packed it full of green grass. It really did make a very dense smoke. Green grass actually works. However, it's not very efficient. The green grass quickly dries out, quickly burns up, and it goes away. I'm not nitpicking Daydant's thoughts. They are saying that they do produce smoker fuel. I really think as a beekeeper, you need to think through the best smoker fuel that works for you, what's available to you, what's handy. For me, I started using burlap. Okay, so I wanted to show you the burlap that I use. Now, I buy this burlap off Amazon. It's food grade burlap. You could eat this stuff. Well, I don't think you can eat it. You could eat off of it. But anyway, it's really made for, you know, what do you call those kind of races? You call them a...
three-legged race?
Is it a three-legged?
Potato sack race?
Potato sack race. Yeah. Potato sack race. There you go. So what I do is I cut a piece that's probably 5 to 6 inches like this. And I fold it once. Let me walk you through the steps on lighting. First time to light my new Daydant smoker. Got to tell you, I am pumped and excited like a little school kid getting a Christmas gift. Wow, it's great. So I usually take something like newspaper or shipping paper like this, and I want to light this and get it going good first. This is my starter fire, my starter fuel that's just going to get the smoker going. Drop that down in there and get that where it's burning pretty good. Now I'm going to take the burlap like this and I'm going to fold it where these rough edges are facing that fire. And I'm just going to not pack it down there, but I'm just going to set it there so that the flames of my paper are hitting the base of that burlap. And it's gonna ignite that burlap. Now, a lot of people give up and think, okay, I got it going good. No, we don't have anything going good. We're just starting, okay? So now we want to just kind of give that a tap and drop it down in there. And now we want to get that whole ball of burlap really flaming up good. You can see that. It's really going good. So now I'm going to put another set of burlap in there, another chunk of it. And I'm not used to running a big smoker like this. It's a little bit more diameter. Ooh, that's hot. All right, so now we got that in there. Look at that. There we go. Wow. Now that's how you light a smoker.
Catch the roof on fire.
Don't burn your camera lens. You'll see your lens melt. I'm going to go for broke. I'm going to be really greedy. I'm going to try to get one more piece in there. Let's see how much space I have. Ooh, I don't have a lot of space. I better not try that. Well, I think I'm going to. Let's see what I can get by with here. We got a big job in front of us, so let's get that relit and flame it up good. All right, very good. Now I'm going to take another chunk of burlap like this. You can see what I'm doing. I'm kind of determining what kind of space I can get that into. And I think it's about this 4.5 inches here. And I'm just going to roll that tightly in a ball where it fits in the canister. Ooh, that's going to be tough. All right, that's going to work. But now we make sure that's going to light good. So let's get this roaring hot, because I want to set all of it on fire. Since I packed it in there pretty good, you have the propensity to smother it out. So even though it's making a lot of smoke, we got to get fire up on that top piece. That is amazing, isn't it? All right, so that's going to be good right now. This big spring in this day dance smoker is giving my arms a workout. All right, let's fire coming out of the bottom, so we're pretty good shape. Fire coming out of the top. Wow, do you see that? I'm glad we caught that on camera. Well, I need that finger guard, but I need something else to keep fire from coming out of the back of the smoker. It was coming out of that top port, I think, that air intake too. So anyway, shutting the lid does that. In the old days, when I was a kid, we worked on our old cars in the 60s, and sometimes the carburetor, you're working on your car, carburetor would catch on fire, and my dad would say, just give it gas, suck that fire in the engine. That's what I did here. All right. And that is a cool, dense smoke. Look at that. That's a good instruction on how you light a smoker. Be sure and save this video. You can click save at the bottom for your future reference. Okay, so the final thing that I want to do in comparing the two, I do like the day dance smoker. It's going to have, I feel, a longevity. Now, I would have to really test these side by side and use in the field. For all intents and purposes, this one may outlast day dance smoker. I don't know. I've only had this one about a year, but we just don't know how long the thinner material is going to last. I think the cage, the canister is going to be similar. It's just going to be how long these billows will last. Now the billows on the day dance smoker are replaceable. I saw on their website that you can buy a new bellow. So you can actually just, I'm not sure how you put that on now that I think about it. Because if you look at those nuts, oh, maybe it comes with the nuts sticking out. Yeah, maybe they're already secured, so you just have to bolt them on. I was worried about where are the nuts? They're down inside the material, but I guess they're already sticking out and secure. So you just buy a new bellow. This will last forever. On this one, you could, I don't know. I don't think you can buy a replacement bellow, but I could be wrong. Adam may correct me on that one. So this is going to boil down to just your preference. But look at this. One thing I will say the day dance smoker has a lot of tension right there. The material, I mean, it is heavy duty. It feels spring loaded. I don't know what else to say. I don't know. I'm talking like a wimp. I get it, But if you're kind of somebody that has weak hands and a weak arm, That's a lot of work. And sometimes, have you ever just had to sit there and do this to get it going? Oh my gosh, right up here, your arm's burning. This one is so gentle to work. The thinner material makes it gentle to work. That's nitpicking, I know, but I'm just saying this is tougher to work. Oh, Pat, my videographer, just said, he says there are springs in there. And then it dawned on me, well, there'd have to be, right? To be able to be pushed back. Yeah, so I guess that's just a tight spring right there. This spring is a lot easier to operate. So which one is actually better? Which one would you go with? I think it depends on your taste, you know. I think a brand new beekeeper that's not sure if you're going to be keeping bees very long, I get it that you may not want to invest a lot of money in a smoker because you don't know if you're going to like beekeeping. It's your first year, you're not sure, and you can pick this up on Amazon, free shipping, 29 bucks, right? The day dance smoker, you know, it took me this long to get 30 years of beekeeping to finally buy a good day dance smoker because I will say that I have trashed a bunch of lesser smokers, maybe not this brand here, but I have bought cheaper smokers and they just tore up, disintegrated, fell apart. I don't think you're going to get that on a day dance smoker the way that the material is and how heavy duty they're built. So if you're in it for the long haul, there's going to come a point where you'll have to decide, do I keep wanting to spend $29 to replace my smoker, or do I just want to have a smoker that's my smoker that I'm used to, and I'm going to pay the 80 bucks and I'm going to enjoy a lifetime of enjoying my smoker. So that's kind of your call on what you want to do with your money. But I think you can get by with either of these. Depends on the nature of your operation, how many bees you're working each day. And if you want to see a video where I answer a lot of your important questions, especially this time of the year, take a look at this video here. It's called the Green Answer Chair. See you guys over there.